Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and thank you for watching as we continue to move through our Advent season and prepare for the season of Christmas coming up in just a couple weeks now. So this Sunday is Sunday, December 15th. This is our third Sunday of the 4 Sundays of Advent. Now, I was often told that what you say at the beginning and what you say at the end is often what people will remember. And so we're going to start at the beginning of Matthew this week. And I know for a lot of people who have read the Bible, they will sometimes come to these genealogies, these lists of names, and a lot of people don't know what to do with them. So you hit it and you say, okay, either I'm going to skip it or I'm going to skim it. But Matthew begins his story this way. And so there's something important here that Matthew wants us to hear. Now, part of what Matthew wants us to hear is that the people who come before us are important. That to live in a world where knowing who your father and your mother and your grandfather and your grandmother were is an important thing because you're shaped by them, you're formed by them. But I think another piece of this is a continuation of the first 2/3 of the Bible, of God's interaction with the people of Israel. And so Matthew starts with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob and continues on through this lineage of people, some who are mighty kings, some who are nobodies. And there's a lot of surprises in there. So when we tell our family stories, if you were to go back and go do a genealogy search, you probably would highlight the people who are really cool. Here's the person who was a mayor of London, or here's a person who was a state senator, or a general, or whatever. But Matthew doesn't do that. Yes, those people are there, but so are some very surprising people who normally wouldn't make it as part of these stories. And so I think one of the things Matthew wants us to hear is there is a place in this story for all kinds of people. All kinds of people can be brought into what God is doing. But I think also for us, this is a story that begins well before us and continues in Jesus Christ. But it's been handed on to us by our parents or our grandparents, and by their great-grandparents, that this is a story that God has used generation after generation after generation to hand on because it's so important. It's so central that people know the good news that we have a God who comes to be among us. And that God who we come to know in Jesus Christ is the God who the people of Israel came to know in their journey through the wilderness, of being the people in the promised land, of being a people who would find themselves in exile and returning. And God works in all those things. And God can work in all kinds of things in our busy and sometimes frantic lives as well. And sometimes when we think we may not have a part in this story, we may be those very ones who God is using to do something incredible. And so I invite you to come and join us as we continue this journey through Advent, as we move towards Christmas, as we begin to hear what Matthew has to tell us about this story of Jesus. And so come and worship with us. We worship at 8:30 with our traditional service, at 11 o'clock with our celebration service. This Sunday, between our two services, we do have our children doing their children's program. Also a reminder for those who knew Mike Menard, his service will be on Saturday at 3 o'clock. So again, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you this weekend as we worship together at Rejoice.